Right, hello, welcome to this tutorial, the one that you've all been waiting for. Um, Obviously it's just showing you bits and bobs there, so I'm going to go through it. So this is about the reflections basically. This is where I'm just showing you what I'm using, so I'm going to just give you an idea. We're using the Arc of Angels, which gives me the mirror effect. Then we're using Twila, Faith and the larger Lumus stamp for the fairies. Then I'm doing the Flora and the foliage set, woodland fern, mini leaf, and like a tree stump as well. I think it's a tree down. Selection of Poscas, watercolour pencils, Mondeluz, Poscas. The ones that I've shown, and I didn't use all of them, so I'll go through it now. Obviously, I'm just starting to print the 3 mirrors that I'm using for the idea of this actual card design. Now that's my masking fluid, which is a very large one. It's going to last me forever. But these latex tipped end brushes, it's not a brush as such, but it's latex tipped. They're brilliant for it because you don't wreck your brushes. You haven't got to put any other products on or anything, and it just wipes off once it's done. So I'm just doing the edges there, as you can see. So while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to start doing the background area. And the colour I'm using there is Fallen Leaves, which is a VersaFine Clay. And I'm just putting these at the sides. And obviously it doesn't go to the top, so I turn it around just to top it off so it looks like a full trunk. And then I've just double stamped on in little areas just to give it a bit more depth. Keeping myself clean as I go. I'm being ever so good just lately. This actual video was like about an hour and 15 long, so I'm really sorry, that's why I've sped it up, so you don't hear me talking or anything. I did waffle on when I was making this, it's quite funny. Obviously I'm using the Distressed Oxides now, so I use Wild Honey, Crushed Olive, Forest Moss and Vintage Photo on this one. And all I'm doing is just giving, just putting a layer down. I'm not even doing any water splashes or anything on this, which is quite surprising because I had all these things in my head, but as the card takes shape, all I saw was the 3 mirrors, and then the rest I've just sort of made up as I went along. So yeah, so I'm using brushes. I'm not using like a hard stencil brush, which I normally do. It's very soft with these oxides. I find myself personally, I can use them better and blend them better with these soft brush things. So I'm just drying everything off there. I'm just making sure that the stencil fluid is also dry, because here we go. I'm going to start using the stamps. So the main focus on this is Faith. Now Faith is LAV 526. That's the stamp number for you to get. And I'm popping her in the middle. Now it hasn't stamped the best, if I'm honest, so I will touch it up as I go through and just use a black pencil. So this is where now, obviously I've put that masking fluid, sorry about my head bopping in there. So I'm just doing the head area and the top area so it's peeping out. And I'm doing the same. So we've got the large Lumus and Twila. Twila is LAV 899 and the larger Lumus is LAV 897, stamp numbers for you. And then obviously where you've stamped, you want to just wipe off where that masking fluid is, because like the last thing you want to do is start smudging ink all over the place when you don't need it. So what I'm going to do there is I've got myself a selection of different pencils. Those are the Mondeluz pencils, the little zig liners, which I've got there. That's a set of 5. They're really good. And I just want to, just so I can see in my head what I've got, I'm just going over with the black Mondeluz pencil there, just to make sure that it's all nice and crisp, and just where I've rubbed out that masking fluid, just little areas which have missed, so I just want it all nice and crisp. Just catch my breath while I'm waiting for myself to catch up with myself. That's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? Oh dear me. So obviously where I've just rubbed out that masking fluid, I've just touched up with that yellow, just to make sure everything's all in place. Now don't worry if you've got ink blobs here and there. As you can see at the bottom, I can actually see where I've blobbed it, and I thought, well, I'll hide that with a bit of foliage. So I'm now going to start putting like together. Now this is totally off the cuff. So I've got the Forest of Fern stamps, and I'm just putting them wherever really. I haven't coloured anything in or finished anything off. I like to make my card up and then go around it, which I know it's odd. Everyone's got their own way. And remember, if you haven't got these stamps, use what you've got. How you think that you can, I mean, you can just do flowers here if you haven't got the fern stamps, or you could even do tops of trees, utilise your stamps. surprising when you look at a stamp what it can end up being created to be. So I've just got a scrap piece of paper then, I'm just building up. Obviously I've got joins where the mirrors are as well, or well, the doorway as such, but I'm utilising it as a mirror. So where the joins are, I'm going to put like the ferns on there, I'm going to put some flowers up there. Basically the flora set and the foliage set are two of my favourites to use, because it really does actually build it up. Now this little leaf set, this little mini leaf that I'm using, that's out of like the pound one. I think they're £1.10 now. Nothing's a pound anymore, is it? So these are the little minis, which are brilliant because all I've done there is I've used the two colours. I've used Shady Lane and Fallen Leaves, and I've done first and second generation, and I've just literally built up that back area. I mean, you can do a stencil with bricks. You can do a stencil with whatever. It's magical, isn't it? You do as you want. But I've just given that indication. Obviously, I've got the two trees either side, so I've given the indication it's within the trees sort of thing. So I'm now using, what am I using now? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this. Chianti. It's like a red. Now, I love using it with the top end of this little foliage piece, and it's a brilliant little infiller. Again, going back onto Shady Lane, and as I'm stamping off, you can see I'm only doing like the top half of the stamp, so I'm not utilising the whole stamp. Sometimes I use a block, sometimes I use my finger with these stamps. It's whatever I feel at the time. At the minute, I'm aiming and I'm doing it in the mirror, over the mirror, well, the doorway as such. And at the bottom, I'm just filling it in around the area, and I'm doing that with the Shady Lane. A little tip that I was given by somebody I respect immensely. Mona said, use green because it's always got the stems and everything. It saves you time, and she's right, little things. And this is where I love the fact that we all share tips and hints and watch each other work. I hope you're enjoying this, actually, that you're picking up some hints and tips of how to do different things. I know you all love the mirror effect, so I thought, well, I'll do 3. You have a bit of everything on this one. So yeah, so I'm building up obviously all the background. Now, I've wrote down it's 401 I'm using. These are the Zig pens, the watercolour pens. I'll tell you what, one of the best things, I know they are fairly expensive, I won't get you wrong, but the pigmentation in these and the movement is absolutely brilliant. Can't fault them. I've just got myself a little water brush thing then. I'm just moving it around just so the indication of the grass and that moves when I put it down. Mondelez pencils, all similar colours. I have got the listing down. Let me just say the Mondelez pencils that I used, I'll give you here now, were 55, 27, 36, 1, 41, 29, 25, 33, 68 and 65. I'll show you house in a minute. It sounds like I'm doing like the bingo, doesn't it? Those were the Mondelez pencils. The Zig pens that I used were 75, 401 and 72. I'll write them down on that scrap piece of paper as I use them. I'm just filling everything in now just to give that bit of depth of that mirror sort of thing. I mean, you can use a nice gold, yellows. You haven't got to use browns. You could do greys. Use what you've got. There's no standard way as such to fill these in. And you express yourself how you want to express yourself through your artwork. And that's what I love because, I'm watching, I'm in some amazing groups. And for people that are posting, they think that they're not good enough and that you're so inspiring to me, that some of the things, how you mix your colours and how you present things, it's absolutely brilliant. So please have a go at this. It hasn't got to be perfect, but your interpretation of it could inspire me to do something else. So, this is what I love about, I always say sharing's caring, because it is. That's how we all learn. So, where are we? Let's have a look. Oh, I'm just starting to bring it all together now. So, looking down it, it looks all right as it is, to be fair. It's very white in those mirrors. We'll get onto them in a minute. Oh, now the pastels. So, they're the Mondelez Tyson. Let me just make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Tyson door, which is the Mondelez set basically. And this is the magic now that I'm doing. So I use the greys in that. So I've used 33, 35 and a black and a white. Now I'm doing like circle effect. And then I'm bringing on like the chalks, the soft pastels. And that's how we manipulate that sort of. If you imagine it's already come through and it's going to give a ripple. then that's the effect that we're going for, that rippled effect. So then I get a watercolour pencil and I start hard. I use this really hard as well. There's no softness to my touch here at all. Really hard, because that manipulates the stamp underneath it, so it looks like it's blurred. As you can see, it's starting to look blurred. So again, just doing those little flick outs, and I'm putting some white highlights on this, because obviously when there's a ripple effect on water, which is similar to what I've done on the mirror, where it's coming through the mirror. So imagine it as a water reflection. So that's all that is. And it's just little bits here and there. And now I'm just manipulating like the arm area and the head area, just to splodge it out a bit. Because when you look at a reflection or a ripple, it's never flat, is it? There's always that movement to it. So that's there. Then I'm just giving a little bit of depth here and there. And again, you can just see how things are starting to look like it's that mirrored movement. So, you know, it's practice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I practiced for ages to get this, you know, and now I'm quite fluid, and I can just like do something quite quickly. Now the wings, I ummed and ahed about the colour, but it worked out really well actually with this. So again, very hard. There's nothing soft about me putting this colour down at all with the watercolour pencils, because I'm not physically using any water with them, so it's pure the pigmentation. And it's like that yellow and white. Beautiful how it's come out on the actual end picture. Really nice. Now, I must admit, the only thing I didn't do, I'm testing Poscas here. You know, when you just don't like the way they come down, and I kept throwing them over, and I got a bit frustrated. They needed shaking a lot more, to be honest, but hey-ho. I ended up with a faithful blue, as you do. The difference, obviously, with the card, which you're not going to see on the end of this, is I use pan pastels to give the misting effect. And the very smallest stencil brush, I think, is a number 3 with the Lavina set. Honestly, the best things ever. The white, titanium white pan pastel is amazing to use for a misting. And I'd done it where it looked like, as these things were coming out, the fairies were coming out of the mirror, the misting was coming to get Faith. You know, so it was all very magical, and the illusion was there that they were coming out the mirror together. Or are they enticing her into the mirror? You know, I mean, is she stuck? What's your story on it? What do you think? Anyway, that's another one. Let's get back to where am I at? Right, so I'm doing the flowers. I'll go off on tangents very easily. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that you use just to create, you know, a small card. But it's this is what gives it the depth, and this is what gets you detail. Little blobs here and little blobs there. So the red, all I've done was go over like the foliage and flora sets just to pick out. And there's nothing to it. It's just like little splodges and little lines here and there. Same with the yellow and the blue. So the blue, I added like a dark watercolour pencil to it. I added blobs of white to it. There's a lot of different variations. And I think I also use like a gel pen. So there's a lot. It's a hugely mixed media piece, but the end result. I mean, obviously I'm looking as I'm talking to you. I have the end result in my hand, and the end result does draw me into the picture, which is what it's all about, really, being drawn into the fantasy that's created. I look at it now and I think, oh, I should have done like a wall feature at the back, maybe, you know, a bit of a brick. But, you know, I quite like it as it is. So we'll continue. So here, I've got the gel pen out here. So little bits and blobs here and there. Gives a great effect, you know, like I say, using all these different medias. That's what it's all about. So where are we? We ain't far off it, to be honest. Just like little bits and that. I was unsure. I was all the way through this. I thought I'm going to use green as a backing card. Apologies if you can hear my dog in the background. There's obviously somebody's walked past the window. I'm very happy when they're looking out of the window. My dogs are. So yeah, I was so determined. I was going to use a green. I got a light green, a dark green, and lo and behold, I ended up yellow. Because as I'm looking at the card now, I can see there's more yellow on it, so I don't know where that came from, but I was so determined I was going to do this as a green backing card. The thing that I didn't put down were the creeper set here. Now I just added just so it, like, I was going to put ivy, but I thought the leaves give that ivy sort of effect, so I thought, well, I'll put a bit of creeper down. I also like to add it where the joins are if you do more than one of those doorways, because it takes away the harsh lines. Adding the creeper there, it actually gives it just that bit more depth. So all I'm doing now is just adding the last little finishing touches, like to the wings and that. Little bits here, obviously, to those highlights where everything's coming out and coming to get them. So yeah, we're getting to the final touches now. Just a few highlights here and there, and obviously I've used yellow, not whites, just bringing it all together there with the grass. Just retouching over the shadowing effects, because sometimes with all the different stuff going over, you lose where you are. And because some of the ferns had got lost, I decided to reprint some of them, and that gave you another depth. So normally I'd do black, so it was like wow in your face at the front, but I thought I'd just keep it to the shady line. So yes, time to mat and layer. Like I said, I was determined I was going to use green. It didn't happen. But actually, to be fair, look at me cleaning up. Wow. Oh, look at that. The Inky Binky. I'm going to treasure that forever. It was a lovely gift from Joe. See, the green just didn't work with it. Maybe a brown may, but as soon as I put the yellow on, that was it. It went pop. So yeah, I thought, there you go. So before you ask, it was from Amazon, the tape machine thing. Just do tape dispenser or something like that, and they come up. I think they're about £10. You know, they're not, but they're honestly they're a godsend. I love them. I can't. Amanda, bless her, she's amazing with the tape. You know, like the little. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So yeah, there you go. Again, the set there with regards to the mat and layering, the rulers, the We Are Memory, they're brilliant. You never go wrong with them. I do sometimes, but you know they are a godsend, to be fair. But yeah, that's towards the end now. I'll stay in silence now. I know these things do happen. I do shut up. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give me a follow, give me a like, and I look forward to seeing what you create from this. You know, and thank you ever so much for all your comments. They mean the world to me. So fabulous. Ta-ra a bit.